Do you ever feel that drivers can get away with anything? Do you wish it was easier to catch them in the act? Do you wish there were repercussions for endangering a life? Well, in this video, I might just have the bit of tech for you. Let's check it out. Let's face it, the standard of driving in the UK is not the best, and anyone who's spent any time on British roads will have some tales to tell about close passes, and probably worse. Road.cc's long-running Near Miss of the Day series is up to nearly 1,000 videos now, and if we published every one we got sent, we'd be into 5 figures. More and more people are recording their rides, and most police forces run web portals for you to submit your footage of poor driving and bad behaviour. In this video, we'll talk you through the types of cameras you can get, how and where to fit them, and what to do with your dash cam footage if you need to report an incident. Yes, I know, bikes don't have a dashboard. Let's get into it. The first type of camera you could consider is an action camera like this GoPro or this DJI Osmo Action. Now these are both expensive cameras and they're useful for much more than dash cam duties, but the internet's full of cheap action cameras and a lot of them are pretty good. 50 quid will buy you one that will shoot a decent picture in 4K resolution. You can get an absolutely baffling array of mounts for them too, and many of them are either waterproof out of the box like these two or come with a waterproof enclosure, which is good news for UK commuting conditions. Check that any camera you're considering supports loop recording. Now this chops up the footage into smaller clips and automatically deletes the oldest ones when you start running out of space on your SD card, so you don't have to worry about file management. The main downside of an action camera is battery life. Even a cheap one will last a normal town commute, but if you want to regularly record rides over an hour, they don't really work as a solution. Also in the action camera family are 360 cameras like this Insta360 X3. As you can see, it's got a lens on both sides and it records everything that's going on all at once. You can frame the footage however you want, and that's great for capturing incidents that a single lens camera doesn't pick up. The main downsides are the cameras like this are pretty expensive and the battery life is again not that great. There's a fair amount of processing to be done as well on the video. You can't just pull the files off and upload them to YouTube. Lastly, you can get a dedicated bike camera. You can get a front-facing one like this rider recall one, and rear-facing ones that are usually built into some kind of rear light. You can get front light ones too, of which the Cyclists Fly 12 is probably the best known. There are twin camera systems too, either with 2 separate cameras like this Inov one, or with both cameras built into the same unit like this Technologic one. These cameras tend to record by default in a loop format with the date and time overlaid on the footage, which is useful if you're submitting it to the police. They often have sensors to detect an impact too, and they can protect any footage they think is associated with an incident. Many of them, this rider recall one included, can also run from an external battery for much longer run times. You can get 8 hours straight out of this one with the battery it comes with. The footage isn't as good as a posh action camera, but for recording incidents out on your rides, it's good enough. You can either have your camera on your bike or on yourself, normally on your helmet. Some cameras will only work in one place. A rear light camera goes on your seat post. A 360 camera or a dual lens camera needs a clear view all around, so it really needs to be on your head. With others, you get a choice. An action camera can go anywhere, and this rider recall camera also comes with all the gubbins you need to fit it to your bike or to your helmet. But which is best? Well, there are advantages to both. On your bike, the camera's out of the way and it's less obvious to drivers, some of whom can get a bit worked up if they know they're being filmed, bless them. If you're using an external battery for long rides, then a bike-mounted camera is much easier to set up that way. You can just run the wires along the frame to whatever bag you're using. One of the main downsides is camera shake. If your camera doesn't have any image stabilization, and this one doesn't, then your bike will do a great job of transferring all the bumps and lumps of crappy UK road surfaces into your footage, which might make number plates hard to read. Having the camera on your head mitigates that quite a bit, and it also means you're free to point the camera at anything you want, which can be useful. Say some idiot is nudging your bike at the lights, you can just turn around and film it. That doesn't really work with a bar cam. On the other hand, the camera hat look might not be one you're comfortable with, and it adds weight to your helmet, which can make it less comfortable. There's been plenty of time and column inches dedicated to discussing whether having a helmet-mounted camera is a safety concern. Michael Schumacher's skiing crash in 2013 is the highest profile case in which a camera has been implicated as a factor in a head injury, but independent testing suggests it's not really an issue. There's a link to a BBC safety report in the description below if you want to delve into that. So you've got your camera and some chump nearly takes you out. What do? Well, The first bit of advice comes from PC Mark Hodson, who we spoke to on the podcast, and he advises this: record, retreat, report. Don't get involved with a driver, get the evidence and get away. And submitting that evidence, well, hopefully it depends. Every UK police force has responsibility for dealing with it in their own way, and so of course it's not a standard process. Things are getting better. After the 4 Welsh forces combined to open the Operation Snap portal, many other forces have used that as a blueprint. Anyway, check what your force wants and check the video requirements carefully. Generally, they need raw, unedited footage with at least a minute either side of the incident. Although here in Avon and Somerset, it's 2 minutes for whatever reason. So, like I said, check. Some portals, like the Lancashire Police one, make you check a box to say that you need to inform the public they're being filmed because GDPR. As far as we can tell, that's not true. You have a right to film in a public place like a road, a legitimate interest in doing so, and no one can have any reasonable expectation of privacy there. But if you live in an area where the form says this, you could invest in something like a Past Pixie sticker to cover that over. You should delete footage that doesn't show any incidents after a reasonable time. But if you're using a camera that loop records, then that'll happen automatically anyway. And is it worth the time and faff to actually report bad driving? Well, the numbers say yes. Rates vary from force to force, but for all the forces I've been able to find stats for, over half the reported incidents result in action of some kind. That could be a letter, a notice of intended prosecution, a fine, or a requirement to attend a course. The worst passers certainly do get prosecuted, so if you capture bad driving, it is worth your time and everyone's time to report it. We hope you found this vid useful. Check out road.cc's camera reviews if you're thinking of getting one. There's a link below. If you've enjoyed this, remember to hit the like button because that really helps the channel, and subscribe for more vids from us. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the mean streets.